Welcome to another edition of the Will Be Blood Fight Show. I'm your host, Dave Duenas, and this is the keys to victory for Roy Jones Jr. versus Joe CALZAGHE. Joe CALZAGHE can do in order to ensure a victory over Roy Jones Jr. First thing is that whatever fight plan he had that he used against Bernard Hopkins, he needs to throw that away, because Roy, if anything, does not fight nothing like Hopkins, and they're just two completely different styles. So one of the things that really can be a factor in the bout would have to be Joe CALZAGHE's jab. Okay, his right jab is going to have to be a big part of this bout. And what that bout can do, it can kind of control Roy from kind of darting in and out and throwing in his pot shots or doubling up his left hook or throwing his straight right. What it can do is hold him at bay, and that allows Joe to close the distance. Because if that's one thing that Joe does not want to do, is give Roy that long arm distance that Roy has. Roy has very long arms. So he's going to have to jab his way in to try to close the distance and have control of the bout by doing it that way. Now, the other thing that Joe CALZAGHE cannot do is when he gets his man on the corner, he has the tendency of squaring up. What he does is he allows that back foot to go even with his front foot, okay? So now he's just squared up and he's kind of just facing the guy like this with his shoulder is just, he's giving this big opening. He can't do that with Roy, okay? And the reason why is because it might have worked with Bernard Hopkins. The reason why it worked with Bernard Hopkins is Bernard Hopkins, his shoulder's always leading this way. See, it's always in that direction. So Bernard is more worried of getting out of the way and kind of rolling out of the corner and trying to get back into the middle of the rounds. Now, with Roy Jones, it's different. Roy does a rope-a-dope. What he does is he leans back on those ropes, and he does a peekaboo style. So he holds you down there, and he'll allow you to do all your shots, and what he'll do is he'll counter right over the top. All right, and his balance wouldn't be there for Joe CALZAGHE. There'll be a lot of flash knockdowns for him. It's going to be a bad move for him. Another thing, too, is that when he squares up, he doesn't get the leverage and power that he needs to throw body shots. If you watch him, he'll square up, and that's when he starts really doing that little pity-pat type of boxing and stuff, where he starts slapping his shots. And the reason is because he has no foundation, okay? There's no boxing stance, no base underneath him to really get down to back pivot those legs and front pivot that front leg when he's landing those body shots, okay? Because that's what you need, is that foundation in order to land those shots. When you square up, there's nothing there. So you're really just kind of, if you watch his shoulders, they fall back because he has no balance and he just, letting it go. He doesn't want to do that with Roy. Roy's too crafty. He's too intelligent, and Roy will really look for those type of bad habits that he has. Probably the final and only thing really that I think that Joe really needs to do to secure a win is really test the older fighter's legs. And how you can test them is, like one I said, his jab's going to really have to be a big plus in this bout. Now, behind that jab is going to have to be a body shot. The only thing is that body shot is really going to have to be like a feint, and then he's going to hook a body shot. Okay, so what he's doing is he's jabbing upstairs, and then he's going to have to dip down and just whip that body shot. He's gonna have to whip it. Don't look for him to throw straight down, just because of the fact that Roy's, his elbows and stuff, his arms are really long, so it kind of covers up his whole torso and stuff. So he's gonna have to try to get the sides of Roy Jones. Really don't look for that middle. And the other thing too, if you look for that middle, Roy can counter right over that. He's just gonna drop right down on him with his left, or drop straight down on the right. So he's got to kind of have to fake out Roy Jones a little bit. Really what the whole bout's gonna consist of for Joe Calzaghe is to really outthink the thinker, outmaneuver the maneuver, and be flashier than the flasher. Keys are there for him to ensure a victory over Joe Calzaghe. Alright, first off, let's go back to what we talked about him being long. That's really his key point of the whole bout, is Roy wants to be long, because that's where he gets most of his power, and that's really where he gets most of his suavity, when he starts getting long, and he gets that distance that he wants, and he springs down, he sprints right back up, and he lands those shots. Look for Roy to really just not even use his jab in this bout. You're going to look for him to double up the left hook, use the straight right. Really, he's going to overdo that straight right. And when he lands and gets up close, you're going to look for him to try to drop a left uppercut, okay, to catch Joe. The other thing you're going to look for Roy to do is really walk himself back to those ropes. Joe's not going to really push him back. Roy's going to invite him to come and follow him back to those ropes, just because of the fact that he's going to want to say, okay, let's test out your stamina. Let's also check out your boxing stance. Let's see if you square up, and let's see if I can catch those flashing knockdowns, because even if he's ahead on points, he can even the score by knocking him down, okay? So it can be a 9-9 round, right? Now, one thing that I like to see Roy do, honestly, is use his jab. This is something that really he should use, just because of the fact that, Joe, he's quick himself too. Joe brings a lot of speed into this bout. Even being a big man himself, you would have to look at him as a lighter version of Roy Jones Jr. in the UK. So this is a big test for Roy himself. This is something that Roy can also sit down and say, you know what, I've never really matched another guy right now in my career that probably has the same amount of speed that I got. Or may possibly be a little faster. We don't know until they get in the ring. So, if anything, if you've been a boxer or if you've been a fanatic boxing fan like I have, you all know that a jab will neutralize somebody's speed. What it does, it'll keep them at bay. It doesn't allow them to kind of dart in when they feel like it. It doesn't allow them to counter move. You know, you could throw your combo and then finish it with a jab, and what that does is it stops them, it pauses them and stuff, so you can either hard pivot out of there, you can roll out, okay, or you can grab and hold. Now, there's not going to be a lot of holding in this bout. I don't see that at all. That's never really been the style of Roy and Joe. Even when they do hold, they're still throwing punches, and they let go so they can open up. What they do is they have a significant way of holding their opponents. What they do is they'll grab, rabbit punch, whatever they need, and right when they feel they're out of danger, they open up. They'll let go, and then they start just ripping the shots, body shots, back to the head shots. So you're going to see a lot of that. Now, who controls the tempo of this bout, really honestly, is who establishes their jab first. Okay? Because the jab is what's going to dictate this whole bout. This fight, really honestly, is not a big whiz. It's not a fight that you're going to be puzzling and go like, okay. It really depends on who establishes their jab first. So whoever establishes it first is going to be the winner of this bout.